Okay, welcome back to another edition of the Dirty Verdict podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Mediator Peter Taaffe.
I'm here, Peter.
Joined as always by Kyle Herbert.
This is a slimmed down version of the Dirty Verdict.
It's diet Dirty Verdict.
Diet Dirty Verdict. We're doing a lot of yoga. We might do some hot yoga. We're going to do some matcha tea.
Well, our guests can talk all about those things with us.
Some grilled lean chicken breast. We got no Bill, no Amanda, no Josh. It's just you and me, Pete.
Helping us back there, Tony. Thank you, Tony.
And our special guest.
Yes, go ahead, Kyle. Since you invited our guest, I'm going to let you introduce her.
Well, thank you, Peter. Tonight we have Imrana Manzanares. Manzanares. Imrana Manzanares, human genius, former nurse, litigator at Abraham Watkins, and I know I'm leaving out a lot of other really important titles. Welcome, Imrana.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. So yeah, I was just going through pre-show. We've had Benny Augusto, but I think you're the second Abraham Watkins, I guess. Certainly would love more.
We had Angelina White on for a while.
We did, yeah.
When she worked there at the time.
Yeah, there's definitely, Abraham Watkins has definitely spawned many great lawyers who have gone on to do, well, Randy Sorrells, of course, being one of them. So it's a great place to work.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Yeah, and so Kyle kind of blew through it. You have an RN, you were a practicing nurse. Do you still hold the nursing, I guess, credentials? So could you go run over to the medical center and go do some nursing?
That wouldn't be smart for anybody, but I was a licensed nurse until probably the last maybe 4 years or so. I kept my license active, and I finally gave it up to the CEs, like we have the continuing education. But yeah, I was an ICU nurse in the Texas Medical Center. I'm a med center snob. I worked at St. Luke's and Methodist, saw some amazing cases. We're really fortunate to have world-class care.
And how long were you a nurse?
It was 3 years.
Wow. Was there did nurses specialize?
I did ICU.
Wow.
I did pulmonary ICU and surgical ICU.
Wow. We've had a need for one of those on occasion.
Yeah.
Kyle's in surgery, usually average about once a month. He's in surgery of some kind on himself.
I can't get the gastric bypass down. You know how many times you can revise a gastric bypass?
No.
Not that many.
Do tell.
Yeah. Well, it's a distinguished list.
We're still learning.
Where'd you grow up, Imrana?
Right here in Houston, in Southwest Houston in Alief.
Okay.
My dad immigrated from Pakistan, and he's in oil and gas. He's an electrical engineer, and we lived there. And when we were there, Sugar Land didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
That was the newest part of town. And we migrated to Sugar Land in the 90s.
And did you go to high school in Sugar Land?
I did. I went to
Clemens? What are the high schools out there?
I went to Second Baptist through ninth grade, and then I finished at Hastings, Ely Hastings.
Were you in school at Second Baptist the same time as Ted Cruz?
She's much younger than that.
You guys weren't on the wrestling team or anything together? No? Okay.
Yeah.
He did a lot of study abroad.
So, and then college?
I went to U of H for my prerequisites for nursing school, UTMB for nursing school, and I finished I had started it with a bachelor's in psychology. I was a little bit lost, and then I went to nursing school. I was close to finishing my bachelor's of psychology. So after I finished my nursing school, I finished my bachelor's in psychology, and then I went to law school at TMSL.
Okay,
So-
or medical or nursing school.
UTMB.
Yeah. Okay. What's Thurgood Marshall? Oh, that's the
Yes.
TMSL. Got it. Okay. So did you always want to be a nurse? Was that kind of growing up what you wanted to do?
No, I was always interested in medicine. And I, God blessed me with putting some right people in my life at the right time. And that got me into the nursing program and put me in that direction. And I have a bachelor's in nursing. I knew I wanted to go on with my education. Nurse practitioner was the obvious choice. I looked at, there's a MBA HC dual master at U of H. I looked at that, and then law was just kind of on the table. And I didn't want to be at the bedside anymore, so I didn't look for NP. And then I forget the acronyms. I think it's the GRE you take to go to MBA school. I started looking at that. I was like, this is a non-starter. And I went and took the LSAT and applied to law school. I got a first-year scholarship to TSU. And so I said, well, I guess that's the plan for me.
So you only practiced medicine for like 3 years.
Correct.
Was there something about it that you were like, this is just not my jam, I want to explore other stuff?
Yeah, well, like I said, I knew I wanted to go on my education. And for most nurse practitioner programs, which is what I was leaning toward at that time, a lot of them required 2 years experience. So I was kind of getting some experience anticipating that go on with NP, but then I was like, I don't really want to be at the bedside anymore.
What was just like people complaining all the time, or the blood and guts, or what?
All of the above. Healthcare is very hard, and I did ICU. So, in the med center, which, we got a lot of the complicated cases
Sure.
that worldwide. So it's a tough profession, and we got to really be thankful for our doctors and nurses that put in that work.
Sure. I don't really understand science or medicine, but I generally do what my doctor says, unless it applies to acetaminophen.
Yeah. I was going to say,
It's announcement.
You never know.
you said,
I use I have a vial of morphine. So if I get a headache, just a little drop of
A
morphine.
drop will do you.
Yeah. So that's how I stay healthy.
yeah, you made it sound like getting a bachelor of psychology was kind of low hanging fruit. Kyle and I aspired to that. We were fortunate to get bachelors in, well, history for me, but
Same for me.
yeah.
We both graduated magna cum difficulty in history at the University of Texas. It was mostly just reading books, though, so no big deal.
Yeah.
Nobody died or bled out because we were bad historians.
Not at all.
Close call.
So you're at TSU, and then did you go straight to Abraham Watkins?
So, yeah, I have another little bit of a convoluted journey. So, when I started law school, my husband moved to Los Angeles for his job. And it was actually another blessing because he was young in his career. So he's working hard, long hours. I was in law school. Y'all know what that's like, study groups and all that kind of stuff. So I was very anxious to go to LA. So I graduated early in 2.5 years in December. And then I joined him in LA. And I came back and took the February bar and was very excited to walk as a lawyer in May. I came back to graduate my class. So we were in Los Angeles for 2 years. After I graduated, I had my daughter out there. And then we came back to Houston in fall of 2009. I don't know if y'all remember the recession.
Mhm.
Y'all
I
like,
do.
it was terrible. And so I was very fortunate to be invited to the Abraham Watkins Christmas party. I don't know if y'all remember Johnny Garza.
Sure.
Adame Garza.
Yeah.
That is my husband's frat brother from A&M.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God. I've never thought so lowly of your husband.
One of our early dates was going to his wedding many years ago. So anyhow, he used to be an associate at Abraham Watkins, and he invited us to the firm's Christmas party. And shortly thereafter, I was hired as Randy Swalls' contract lawyer.
Nice.
And I started there in December of 2009, and I never left. And in December, I will have been at AW for 16 years.
Wow. Congratulations. That's a long tenure for that place.
It's a long time, and I've just been really blessed. I had my daughter as she was 2 years old, and I started in December, and I immediately got pregnant with my son and had him.
Hold on. Do you and your husband, do you guys know where babies come from? Because you can plan this stuff out.
And we were trusting God's plan because we wanted our kids close in age.
Okay.
And so I had my son in AWU. I worked 9 to 3 for several years, and they afforded me a position where my career grew with my children. So I'm always very grateful for that. And because that time is precious, as you know, with the kids. And so, and of course, I love going to work and, kind of making big role decisions and getting dressed and going to work. But then I was home and I could make dinner, go to swim class, give the baths, and pick them down for bed. So it's a great time.
And how old are your kiddos now?
Now they're 15 and 17.
Oh, my God.
I know. I have my daughter is a junior in high school and getting ready to take the SATs and is going to be applying for college. And my son just started 9th grade. He grew 4.5 inches over the summer. And for the first time, it
What are you feeding him?
everything. He eats 7 times a day. You cannot keep him full, and he's this big, right? But he, for the first time last week, when we walk, he usually puts his hand around my waist and I put my hand over his shoulders, and he shouldered me this time. He put his hand around my shoulders because he's now taller than me. He's 5'8". And so here we are.
Peter has a son. How tall is how old is Michael?
Well, Michael's like 6 feet, but Philip, the oldest one's 6'4".
Yeah.
So, and now, yeah, they're all taller than me. All three boys.
Yeah, something to do with my husband, a run for his money for sure.
What was your husband's job in L.A.?
So he has a degree in architecture and construction science from A&M. So he builds buildings. So he built the SBC Center in San Antonio. I think it's called something else now. Whatever their stadium is where the Spurs play. He built a convention center in Dallas. He came to Houston after we met. He came to Houston and built this light rail, the Metro light rail.
The monorail.
Because we were.
I sued them. I don't think it's a monorail.
I sued a company called Houston Rapid Transit JV, which I think was the conglomeration of companies managing the monorail.
Yeah. If you want to go to a monorail, you go to Disney World, I think.
Sir, it's a monorail.
All right.
Well, that's what we're going to call it.
So we were bidding for the Olympics at that time. Yep. So that's that project. So anyhow, to answer your question, he went to LA to build a high rise in downtown LA. And do you remember, this is, 2005, 6, somewhere around there. Do y'all remember the show MTV Cribs?
Yeah.
This is when reality TV was just starting. There was a rap star that lived in there as high rise. Yeah. So that was kind of neat.
Do you remember who?
Soldier Boy.
Soldier Boy. Okay.
Kyle does a meme with Soldier Boy.
Yeah. Some people say that Cisco is a one-hit wonder, just a thong song, but that's not true. He's got a really expansive discography.
Okay, so first takeaway, before we get into your practice, first takeaway is people who do law as a second career.
Yes.
So I guess for you, did you know going in, when you started doing medicine, did you have a pivot point where you said, I kind of want to do law? Or did you kind of get disenchanted with medicine and wanted to do something different, whether business, law? Or how did that go for you on the?
Yeah. So, I was an ICU nurse and I knew I didn't want to be a bedside ICU nurse for the rest of my career or, working. The good news about ICU and what I always tell new nurses is to start in the ICU because everything else is a step down from it. So you can go to L&D, you can go to ER, you can do just floor nursing or whatever, versus if you start there, it's harder to go up because they put a lot of money and time into training you as a new graduate nurse for obvious reasons. And so I knew I didn't want to do that. And, ball just kind of, but, I think I talked to somebody who mentioned I have a friend in law school or something. It was just very casual and it put law in my mind. And I literally was like, want me to go take the LSAT? And so I woke up one day and took it. I didn't, have a dream of being a lawyer and I didn't have a lot of direction and it worked out well for me where, like I said, I applied and got a first-year scholarship to TSU. The nursing background was definitely helpful because, as most law students are, have poli-sci or history or English or something as a background. So I think that really diversified me. And then I got very blessed doing personal injury, which is hand in glove with nursing, right? So
that was going to be my next question is, and I don't want to get too far away from the personal stuff because I have some questions about that as well, but a lot of people that don't know or deal with lawyers don't realize that what we do as personal injury lawyers one of the fun things about our job is we constantly get to learn new stuff, right? Like one day you're learning OSHA regulations. The next day you're learning about fraudulent transfers. But a big chunk of what we do is reading and learning medicine, like all those medical records. And I've probably deposed as many doctors as I have defendants. And I'll be honest, my favorite thing in the world to do is to depose a defense doctor expert. Like I love that. is it a huge advantage to have that medical background? Like, I would imagine, like, you can really come in loaded for bear when you're deposing a doctor or a nurse or somebody in a medical staff.
Right. Well, what's really helpful is that I feel like, because I had to do this, I don't know everything about everything at all times, right, when it comes to medicine. But when you have the vocabulary, just like if you get two lawyers in a room, the conversation, somebody who's not a lawyer, they're going to lose the context very quickly, right? When you start talking, oh, they filed an MSJ or, the lingo and stuff.
Speaking of shorthand.
Right. And so do medicine, right? So if you've ever been to a room with two doctors or something, you can also get very lost. So having that foundation certainly was helpful. And then when you hone in on however your patient is injured, be it a brain injury or something orthopedic, or you really understand the concept. And so I feel like I got that quicker.
How many medical records transcripts did you have to summarize for Randy Sorrells?
5 billion. A lot. Yeah. And I'm very familiar with medical records. When I started at St. Luke's, we still did paper charting. And then when I moved to Methodist, they were going toward the EMR. And so I was very familiar with medical records because I used to document in them. So
how early on in the depot do you tell the opposing doctor, like, fair warning, I'm a nurse? Or do you just let it reveal itself? Or do you just let them slowly shrivel into the corner as they understand what they're talking about?
Yeah, the latter, not the former.
Yeah.
Unless they happen to see my card.
And do you take great joy in deposing medical experts?
Yeah, I enjoy it a lot. But, I learned a long time ago, you rarely are going to get anybody to change their mind.
See, I would say in my entire legal career, the only people I've ever gotten to actually change their testimonial is an expert.
Yeah.
Because what my favorite thing to do is I like to say, this is your diagnosis, right? This is your opinion. And then I'll say, now, if X, Y, and Z were different, you would agree that would have changed your opinion. And then lots of times these doctors, they say that they reviewed all 60,000 pages, and they never have. And then I give them the rubric by which they agree they have to change their opinion. And then I go, now, where it says right here, plus LOC, that means, what does that mean? They go, positive for loss of consciousness, all right? And so you would agree with me, like, your opinion on this patient is completely backwards now. I just love deposing doctors. Like, they're really locked into a certain set of facts that even if they want to get around, they're stuck with, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah. I'm curious. I would think that you reading medical records and nurses' notes in particular, can you pick up some things that maybe Kyle and I are just looking at them cold, even though we're educated enough to kind of see, like, I think this nurse is trying to say something, to like drop some clues that maybe something is wrong here.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely shorthand. And it's also helpful for building the damages model because I feel like I can bring to the table a real understanding of exactly what somebody went through and kind of dissect that, especially when it's outside of just the ortho injury, right? And when you have internal damage and whatnot. So, but it is a language and it's helpful to be fluent in it.
Yeah. So do you do any medical malpractice?
I don't anymore. I've done my fair share.
Okay.
The tort reform laws of 2003.
Yeah.
Horrendous.
Yeah.
Horrendous. The cases are really tough. The breach of duty is always arguable because known risk and common complications can occur. Causation, it can be very difficult to weed out damages due to negligence versus the fact that you have diabetes, or whatever it is that's got you in the doctor's office to begin with. But the most horrendous part is the non-economic cap,
sure,
which has not been adjusted for inflation in over 20 years now.
Well, it's been my understanding the economy's roughly had very minute changes in the last 20 years. No big deal.
Yeah. So you did it for a while, and then what kind of 2003, everyone still kept trying to stay at it, and then ultimately it just became too hard.
There's not many that still take those cases.
Will you still like look at one and sign it up if it's great? Like, no, okay. Like, I probably take one med mal case a year, but it's the kind of case where, like, I know I'm going to send them a letter and they're going to send me a check for $250,000.
Right. Which,
Because if it's anything more complicated than that,
yeah.
you're
And that's
kinda
the
hosed.
least on the haystack situation.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like the TTCA claims when they know there's a limit of
it's got to be exactly right. Yeah.
well, first of all, they're not going to pay it unless a jury makes them.
Right.
And so you're already going to have a haircut short of trial. And I mean, the analysis is just so different, you know, even in a $30,000 car wreck, I feel like I'm having to prove more in the most egregious of situations in med mal.
Sure.
Because they're just tough cases. They're also terrible.
So do not send your med mal cases.
I don't want to never say never, right?
They're
Very tough. But I've definitely focusing a lot on personal injury, all the other stuff, explosions, car wrecks, you know, 18-wheelers, a lot of other stuff.
So have you spoken to your 17-year-old, who I guess is now looking at colleges and the SAT? Have you explained, like, no pressure, but you either need to be a structural architectural engineer or a nurse and lawyer?
Right. So we're gearing her toward chemical engineer. She is wicked good at math and science. She is taking college physics right now and college calculus. And she's just very naturally gifted, thank God, in that area. So I come from a family of engineering. So that's where we're going. But my boy, I'm definitely trying to shepherd toward law.
Really?
Yeah, he's joined the debate team
Okay.
this year. Yeah, and he's really enjoying that. He's very successful. He's always been very witty, very, I like to say, analytical. For example, and I'm sure y'all will be able to relate to this. So I don't know the ages of your kids or what their hairstylist is, but this past summer, all the 14-year-old boys wanted to look like a llama. Have you seen those Instagram posts where they have the mop on the top?
Kind of like Kyle's hair?
No, his more in the back. It's more of a front look. I'll let you Google it later, but
I'm gonna Google it right now.
yeah, about teenage boys llama haircut. Look that up. And so that's
Llama haircut?
yeah, look like a llama. You know the front piece. So in his it's like the llama. We had all this hair product, right? The curl cream and all this stuff to
gotcha.
to font, right?
Uh-huh.
And we were at the grocery store, and he pulled yet another, hair product. And I said, we're not going to buy that. You've got 10 things on your bathroom counter. Let's go through those, and then we will buy you some more hair product. He's 13, 14 years old. So keeping that in mind, he did not stamp his feet. He did not say, but mom, please get it. He says, how much stuff do you have from Sephora?
Did you say shut up, Karen?
I said,
You're walking home.
I have a job. And he said, what about Amira, his sister?
Uh-huh.
Because, right?
You said, I like her better than you.
That's exactly what I do, right? I go to Sephora, and they've got a whole, make me pretty gels and creams.
Sure.
Make me younger, lotions and potions.
There never worked for me, Peter, but...
And I've got a drawer full. So, touche, good sir.
Yeah.
So he's very quick-minded like that. So he's in debate now, and he's gone to 2 competitions he's really enjoying.
Wow, that's awesome. So, I was going to say, I want to ask a kind of broad question, and it sounds sexist because it's not a question we normally ask of men. But you and I have been friends for a while, and you've, really crazy educational background, just fantastic career. Seems like 2 great kids, and you're always on the gram, exercising and hanging out with your kids and having a great time. And it seems like you've really got this raising kids, working hard, life balance down. And I think most lawyers don't, male and female. So what's the secret sauce?
Yeah, I have a great family. I have the best husband in the world. He's very supportive of me. One big eye-opener for me was, having come from healthcare, was networking. So there is none in healthcare. I didn't have to bring patients to the hospital. I didn't have to find doctors. But I learned at Abraham Watkins that networking is very germane to the legal field. And so that involves, all these great organizations we have in town. There's lots of different CLEs and happy hours and all these kinds of events, and they could take a lot of time in after work hours or commitments. For a long time, I was the lady that lunches. I like to lunch quite a bit. But,
Not anymore. She took me to El Tiempo a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And that little card, they're like, you have been overserved. It's time for you to leave. Just pay your bill. That's her.
only with you. So yeah,
Not really.
very supportive has been in my career. So I think that's been really helpful, and I've been very blessed to have a lot of the lawyers that trust me with their referrals. But having a great family and getting on a schedule. But I would not necessarily agree that I am mastering this.
Well, okay, let me ask a practical question. Do you have like hard and fast rules about like, I will only travel this much, I will only take this many depots? Nothing. It's just been kind of natural.
Yeah, no, it's I've been very blessed to have a healthy, fast-paced, sometimes seemingly overloaded docket, right? It's a long work.
Sure.
And I mean, this is the nature of the profession. I don't know any lawyers that work 9 to 5.
I do, but they're poor.
So it can be a balancing act for sure, and especially with the kids. And but I've been, again, very grateful to Abraham Watkins for affording me a position where I worked part-time for years, and I got to be very present when the kids needed me a lot in their younger years. And, I still make it out to the ball games and all that kind of thing. So I think that's been very helpful as well, obviously.
Cool.
Yeah, that's what you mentioned that you were 9 to 3 for a while.
Yes.
While the kids are younger. I think that's so smart. Abraham Watkins does a lot of things smart. But if you say, no, we have to have someone who's giving us 80 hours a week or whatever, then you're wiping out a whole segment of really smart lawyers that just can't or made a decision they don't want to do that. And so I think that's hats off to them for creating kind of a win-win with you at that stage in your life. And I'm sure you said, look, when kids are older, I'm all in for a different schedule. But at that period of time, that's what worked best for you.
And that investment paid off. I've been there all this time. They won that bet for sure. And, I plan on being there another 20. I've really enjoyed the work there, like the quality of the work. I've had excellent mentorship and support. And, nobody ever said to me, hey, enough is enough, or you need to come back sooner, or when is this going to happen? I mean, it was a very natural progression. And so I'm very thankful for that. And, I hadn't had I don't know what the job market is like now or how it is applying for different jobs or those positions, but I'm very hopeful that post-COVID, I think the only good thing that came out of COVID was learning about working from home and Zoom and utilizing that technology. And, there's a lot of talented female lawyers out there. And I hope working from home has really kind of changed that landscape, because if you give a mom, with young kids especially, 24 hours to do a task, I mean, it's phenomenal. From 2 to 3, if you're at the school or doing something, and you answer emails from 6 to 7, who cares? And you're able to access some really great talent with just a little bit of flexibility for that very small window of time.
So they let you work 9 to 3 for a number of years, and now have they recouped that? Do they just make you work?
Oh yeah.
You just work from 8 to 7? You say, I only do half days? You pick which 12 hours?
Right. I wish. No, they've definitely, I think, reaped the reward of that investment. I hope they feel the same, but I certainly do. Yeah, it's been great.
Can you get me and Peter invited to the Christmas party?
Oh, absolutely. Are you not on anybody's list yet?
So I've been invited like 15 years in a row. About, 10 years ago, when the party was still at the downtown. Yeah. So I went there, and for big parties like that, I figure I'll be in there first, shake hands with all the judges and the partners, and I'll have one cocktail.
Almost the dance party.
Right. But like my thought is like in and out, gone in an hour and a half, if possible. And I did that one year at Abraham Watkins, and I came back out to get my car while people were still arriving. Like I don't know, the party started at 7, and I got there at 7, and I left at 8:30. And the valet was like, yeah, we don't have your keys.
Oh, no.
And then I was like, what are you talking about? And then they came back and they're like, we found your keys, but we don't know where your car is. And I was like, the fuck are you talking about? And they were like, I mean, it's here in downtown Houston somewhere. So I walked around in circles for like 2 hours trying to find my car.
Oh, no.
And I have not been back since.
Wow.
That's really not Abraham Watkins' fault.
Yeah, the party's always just...
It's at the ballpark now. So.
Yeah, it's at the ballpark, so it's much more streamlined. But yeah, when it was at the firm, it was just a free-for-all. So many people descending on the firm in this 3-hour window. It's really hard. That was always a struggle. And parking downtown is just a mess anyway.
It was a great party, though.
I think Kyle deserves it for trying to leave early.
That's true.
Yeah.
You reap what you sow.
It was I'll tell you why it was such a fun party is because, like, you guys opened up all of the office. So, like, you could be, like, in one room having cocktails with Imrana.
Yes.
And you'd go to the next room over, and it would be, like, a bunch of judges. And then you go into the next room, and it'd be, like, a bunch of JP court staff. And you got to meet in weird little settings all kinds of people. It was a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. And after COVID, and I think probably related to COVID, we started doing it at the ballpark. And honestly, like, there's so many people now. It's a lot more comfortable for everybody involved. There's no valet issues that I'm aware of.
So let me ask you the hard-hitting questions. How many times has the Abraham Watkins building flooded since you've been an employee? And how many more floods do you think until you guys...
Well, no, a related question. Y'all just broke ground on a rebuilding.
Yeah, we will never leave. That building will outlive us all. We'll all be dead and gone.
Let's hope.
Where the building falls. So, yeah, the first big flood, and I don't even know the names of them, but first the downstairs flooded. And I think that was Harvey.
Harvey, Allison, Ike. I mean, I think that...
Yeah. So the first major flood was, at that time, we had a lot of solo. So, the building's 3 stories. We've always officed on the second.
Yeah.
So the first floor used to be rented out to solo practitioners, and it flooded, and they left, and they rebuilt. And then shortly thereafter, it flooded again, and they took it back to the studs. I can't remember if it was rebuilt at that time. It may have been, but then it would flood again. But then for a while, it was back to the studs, so it didn't matter. It was just a matter of bringing in blowers to dry it out. And then very smartly, they didn't rebuild it and turned it into a parking lot. So now we have this beautiful space right under the building that we can park in. Great big parking spots, which are helpful for me so I don't hit anybody.
See now who's being sexist.
Yeah. That's one stereotype that's true, at least for me. So they built instead of rehabbing it, it's a parking garage. Now, water, if it does split, it just comes in and comes out. I guess it was Harvey is when I learned, I think the building was tilted because the whole part of the building facing the bayou flooded. And so we had to move all that stuff into the middle of the lobby and like double up for a while. Do y'all know Brian Humphrey?
I don't know that I did.
He's very well known. Does a lot of complicated cases at Peloton. But anyway, we shared an office with him for several months while we were rehabbing. So that was pretty devastating. So then after we built that parking garage, like flooding really wasn't an issue, then we were hit by a tornado. Do you remember the tornado like a year ago? And it did.
Oh, the derecho? Yeah, the derecho got you, right?
What are the chances? Right.
I think God doesn't want anyone. That is Indian burial ground. They don't want you there.
So where are y'all building the new, is it an add-on to the existing room?
It's being built out of the air, but after the tornado hit our neighbor, but we share a very small sliver. So that happened, and that was a little bit of a setback for the building that just started like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So they're going to build a beautiful space. I think it's going to be an additional 3 stories over the parking lot at the Milam at Commerce intersection.
So your husband 16 years ago didn't like go to visit your office and say, this is a hydrologist's nightmare. We can't office here. You're in danger. He never said that?
He never said that.
Is the spaghetti warehouse isn't still open, is it?
No, it ate it during one of those floods, and I think it was another McIntyre's like bar
No.
even though if that's what it's still called, I hadn't checked it out.
Well, we're glad you survived all the floods.
I did survive. I was lucky with the tornado.
I was saying in my head, I imagined you and Randy like on a door floating down Buffalo Bayou, like the end of Titanic. And then you push Randy off into the freezing water. And
It wouldn't be freezing; it would be boiling water.
right. Well, I mean, at this point, there's like 14 dead bodies in the bayou.
I saw that. They're thinking, is there a serial killer?
I don't want to say the Rainy Street murderer has moved from Lady Bird Lake to
Buffalo
Bayou, but I guess
It's not as sexy as Lady Bird Lake.
let me say this. I don't know by volume if 16 bodies in the bayou is a lot. It sounds like a lot,
Yeah.
but like I don't.
What qualifies? I don't know.
Well, I mean, like how are people?
How fast do they have to be killed or found?
Well, and that's my question. Is like, are people just dying all the time and ending up in the bayou?
Yeah, and how are they? Are they killed and then dumped, or are they drowning?
Are they indigent folks who just die in a park? Why are you fishing?
Inquiring minds want to know, Kyle. Let's get to the bottom of this. We need Wayne Dolcefino back.
I mean, this was years ago. I was driving by Memorial Park, and there used to be this guy that would set up with canoes on the west side of 610. And my daughters were like, we want to do a canoe tour of Buffalo Bayou.
Bad idea.
I was like, what do you want to see, like mosquitoes and dead bodies? Why would anybody want to do that?
Trash. Lots of trash.
I mean, I'm assuming lots of medical waste, some homeless folks.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I have not taken that tour yet, but
Yeah. You're not missing nothing.
you don't think so?
My window faces
There's-
the bayou.
There's not a regatta kicking off from the steps of Abraham Watkins to go down Buffalo Bayou?
There was recently, definitely post-COVID, a car that drove through, on Commerce Street, how you have to make a left. He didn't. He drove through it into the bayou. So that was exciting.
Was that, I mean, that's like this, isn't that a scene literally from The Office where they're like, turn right. Just goes into the pond?
He listened to his GPS to his detriment.
Well,
Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, I mean, you've reinforced some very ugly racial and gender stereotypes saying you don't know how to park. So let's not cast too many stones on the gentleman driving into the bayou.
Fair point. Yeah, I don't know how he ended up there, but he did.
All right, back to law.
Okay.
Notable case, and you don't have to give this, case identifiers, but notable case that you're really proud to have worked on and really felt good about the result.
Yeah. Well, there's been a couple. One which you mediated for me. I had framed that case by several lawyers and got told things along the lines of, you're crazy. Why would you ever take this? You should pay Metro money, that kind of thing. So I had without disclosing too much, I mean, there's a petition so anybody can read the facts. But there was a Metro bus and my client was hit by it. And it was not as clear cut as you would think. And there were definitely an idea of contributory negligence.
Was your client a pedestrian or in a vehicle?
A pedestrian.
Okay.
And you were able to resolve that one. That was a tough case. So very pleased to put some money in that guy's pocket because he was very badly hurt. Right by
It was on
that bus.
It was on video,
Okay.
and if
Video.
I'm kind of like, now that's over. I saw the video, and I probably had the same.
So what's this guy doing in the middle of the street?
Yeah, I had the same initial reaction, but of course I'm the mediator, so I'm like, I'm just gonna not make any
Play it
judgments
cool.
about anything and just kind of hear the story. And then she was a extremely effective and passionate advocate for her client and cared. Most importantly, we did a rare in-person mediation, and that was, I think, the first time we met.
Yes.
And I could tell that you had you cared very strongly about your client, which is, not, I'm not going to say unique, but it is refreshing to see that. And it wasn't done on the first mediation. We had to do it a second time and got it resolved. But I was impressed with your passion, but also your kind of persistence and not, look, every case has something at face value, but good lawyers dig down. So was it figure out other options and make it work?
Was it just a liability issue that needed like a very attentive eye to figure out what was going on?
They denied liability altogether, and there may have been some playing of chicken in the road pre-incident.
Oh.
And so he was not necessarily on the sidewalk or crossing the road. So anyhow, it was a tough case, but I tried to advocate fiercely from my client about things a jury could see. So that was Peter helped me bring that.
And you had
about that.
Yeah, you had a very great defense lawyer who I'm
Wonderful
very
It wasn't Metro's normal in-house folks?
No.
Because I was going to say, for people that have never sued a governmental entity like Harris County or Metro, I would rather have a root canal than typically litigate against Metro.
It was just, I recently, you're speaking to my spirit. I recently went through that experience. And
As a litigant or as a lawyer?
as a lawyer.
Back to your driving record.
I brought suit, and they're tough, with and I experienced it with LBJ, MD Anderson, bed top, from the med mal perspective, because you have not only the CAP, but then you have the TTCA. And so any of those situations, it's, they're very tough. They're protected by the CAP.
I was going to say my experience has been not only are there CAP issues, there's really a lack of communication or a huge disjoint between the lawyers and the people writing the check.
It's tough.
And so you're like, I have clear liability and great damages. And they're like, well, I'm not going to ask Commissioner's Court to sign off on this ever. Why not? I don't know how to do that. We're just going to try it. You're like, okay, I guess let's waste a couple of years, but
yeah, no, that's
soon the government's no fun.
No, it's not fun. It's not fun. I recently had a case where a woman was found. She was reported missing by her family, and 2 days later found deceased in an uncovered manhole. There was some property, as it was a lot of brush, and the brush covered the manhole, which was uncovered, and she was found down in it. And I mean, God bless her, she didn't die instantly. It was terrible. But the damages were there. Everybody would agree that, this was a horrific situation, but premises and what she was doing there. I mean, she was.
Was the property owned by?
She was passer, yeah, by an apartment complex. But I had a really wonderful defense lawyer, and we were able to get that resolved in a good way. But there were some real tough, premises cases are so tough generally. But nobody knows why she was there.
Yeah.
My own home has, behind my backyard is like a nature reserve area. So they had a similar situation where right behind her house there was this, kind of thicket area where she had never gone before, had no business going back there, but she was found back there, and we'll never know why she was back there. But she's very arguably trespassing. So it was a tough question. And I had another case where a guy was working out at the gym, as one does, and somebody came in and shot him in the back of the head, and he died. Totally random. They didn't know each other. So it was a tough premises security case. We're able to resolve that one.
Was it some place where people right? So to prove a premises case, you got to prove, some reason for the landlord to think something terrible is going to happen, and timber walk factors and all that. So where's this guy working out where people get shot in the head?
Yeah, there had been a shooting there a year prior.
Okay.
And so I took Tanglewood factors and the demand, met them all.
That's wild.
It was tough.
Those are
premises cases are tough. And I tell clients, anytime somebody else commits a crime and goes rogue, it's hard to hold somebody else responsible for it.
Yeah, there's just a verdict. I think good lawyers lost on a case where they put it all on the third party shooter.
Yeah.
Tried case. Yeah. It's usually defendants argue targeted attack, because there's some case law on that where, in the landowner's defense, you can't predict it.
You're not omnipotent. Yeah.
Yeah. If someone is targeting Kyle, for instance, they're going to get him. It just matter of where.
Who would want to hurt me?
Oh, I know. Just an example, of course. Hypothetical.
You're right. Those cases are hard.
So yeah, right. You're good. That's why Kyle usually doesn't. He didn't put it.
Yeah, normally I sit over there, so my back's not to the door. I don't want to get whacked.
Yeah, so you do all kinds of case, like anything different.
Every day is like a soap opera, and I love getting into a case. You know, I had another one where a bunch of cars were stopped at a red light, as one does, and this dump truck just barreled through them. And the police report was scathing. There's no evidence this guy ever tried to brake. There's no roadway evidence. I mean, nothing was wrong with the dump truck. It was awful. Well, he had a 500,000 CSL and 10 people with their hands out, right? Property and BI.
And for the non-lawyers, 500,000 combined single limits, meaning that's all, no matter how many claimants there are, how much damages there are, that's the most he's on the hook for. His insurance is on the hook.
Exactly. And my guy was pretty, respectably injured. But I dug a little deeper and found that dump truck was overloaded. So we brought the overloader in, and they had more money. And
Good deal.
people were able to successfully resolve.
That is some good lawyering, Peter.
I think there's I saw a CLE on Instagram or something. TTLA has something for you guys coming up, like something like that, where you think it's a policy, but different avenues to expand, maybe find other responsible parties.
So I worked as a defense lawyer for a very brief period, like 3 or 4 years. And I would say I did learn one valuable thing in that time. So as a defense lawyer, when I would get a new case in, I would look at the front of it and I would immediately try and determine 2 things. Where are all the other policies and who else can I blame? That's what defense lawyers should do, right? Where are all the other policies? Who else can I designate?
Risk transfer.
Right, risk transfer. And I still do that as a plaintiff's lawyer, or try to, right? You look at the wreck and think, who loaded this vehicle? Who did the testing on this vehicle? Who's responsible for keeping the brakes working? And that's kind of the fun little puzzle you get to do with a lawsuit, is trying to figure out how can I spread some risk amongst multiple defendants.
And who else at the firm do you work with a lot?
Another thing I really love about AW is we have a lot of autonomy.
Mm-hmm.
So I have all the help I need in brilliant minds to consult and banter with about different cases and roundtable them. But I'd been there so long. I just,
Can have your own thing.
I do my own thing, but, I could pick and choose whoever. If I, brought in something really complicated or felt like I needed some assistance recently, Biddy Augusto helped me resolve the gas explosion out in Dallas. So I have everyone at my fingertips, and of course I'm happy to help too. But there's a lot of freedom to run a case the way you want, make the decisions that you want to make, and lots of great mentorship and consultation with anybody there. Everybody kind of brings their own. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Brings their.
We just had the carpet replaced, so spill whatever you want on the floor, Imrana. She has no respect for the physical plant. She assumes we're just going to flood soon enough and it won't matter.
You can have nice things.
So you said gas explosion case?
Yeah, and that was a good one. It was a lady was sitting in her house, and there was a spark. There was a gas leak, and terrible explosion. She was horrendously injured, and unfortunately succumbed to those injuries and passed away. And the energy company over there is Atlas, like with Center Point. And so we were in litigation with them for a while, and we're able to resolve that. But Benny was excellent. Obviously has a lot of experience with explosions.
Sure.
Wonderful to consult with and work that case with me.
Lyons and Simmons firm came on and talked about a gas explosion at a home case. I think it was, $87 million verdict?
Yeah. That's what I was just thinking of.
Yeah. And I think they talked about, because they're in Dallas, so I think they litigate against Atmos quite a bit too.
Yeah. Wasn't that... So the problem in that case, I think, was Atmos just...
That was San Antonio, so it was CPL or CLP, whatever the local one is there.
Well, this company just said there was no explosion. There was no explosion. I mean, right? Wasn't that the gist of it?
According to Mike, there was multiple defenses, and it's like, choose one, go down one aisle. Okay, that didn't work. Go down this way. That didn't work.
But I mean, the bottom line was, like, there was an oven and a hot plate, and then the house exploded and killed everybody. And the gas company was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
It could.
And that
Buildings explode out of the blue all the time.
Well, you have someone that's burned up and then dies.
Yeah.
They're going to have to come up with every defense they can.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Okay, so those are all good. But really, for you, you'd say anyone out there, really any type of case.
It's my
Give me-
slogan, my elevator speech. I think you in particular really love this. Is that I'm the nurse attorney. Call me anytime anybody's hurt under any circumstance. You nurse attorney, hurt people. Try to like that.
Anytime.
Who's your favorite nurse?
I guess myself. I don't have.
TV nurse.
Hot Lips Houlihan?
That's taking us back.
MASH? Like, I'm trying to think of famous nurses
ER probably had some good ones, but
that you could use as like
Yeah.
for marketing. I don't know. Nurse Ratchet
yeah.
from
Yeah, nurses really haven't gotten their play on TV.
yeah.
They're always there, kind of like in life. They're always there. They're steady, but they're kind of they're not the star of the show necessarily.
So Peter has an embolism. We got to get him to a cardiac care ward immediately. Which hospital in the medical center?
Oh, a Memorial Hermann for trauma for sure. And Ben Taaffe. Ben Taaffe sees lots of great cases, and they will not give up on you. We've had patients in...
Which hospitals will give up on you? So I want to put them on my list.
Well, I've seen doctors sign off of cases when, they feel like they've exhausted all that medicine has to offer. So Ben Taaffe will really, they're good. They get a lot of the gunshot wounds.
Yeah.
That was trauma. But a simple, embolism, I think St. Luke's Methodist and Elam could handle that very easily.
Who staffs the Ben Taaffe? Which doctor group? Is it UT physicians?
UT physicians at Memorial Hermann, but all the medical schools are at Ben Taaffe.
Everybody has to do a rotation, right? At the Harris County Hospital District.
They're at LBJ. I went through LBJ and UTMB, but a lot of the good cases go through there. A lot of trauma.
So what is the highest level of injury that you could currently help us with?
Oh, something with a Band-Aid.
Band-Aid?
Yeah.
Could you intubate?
Could we with a pen?
Could we intubate a Peter?
And intubate?
No.
I'll do it for the show.
He will do it for a show.
Yeah.
No.
How about like a mild electrical shock?
Stitches. You could probably do stitches.
I could try. I could remove stitches for sure.
Good.
I could feel good about removing stitches.
I didn't want to, let this out of the bag until the appropriate time. I have a catheter that I want us to try and use on Peter. Peter?
No, I won't do that for the show.
I need you on the table.
I'll do the innovation. I'll do the innovation for the pen. I won't do the count.
All right. Well, if I ever get a hangnail or something.
I could help you. Yeah, call me for that.
Okay.
And so website is it abrahamwatkins.com?
It is. And, it's amazing to think about like where we've been and how far we've come. For a long time, I was the only girl.
Mhm.
And we ran 8 to 10 lawyers. One of our old firm photos came up on one of my Facebook memories not too long ago. And now I bet we're up to 30 lawyers. I mean, it's just bulging at the seams. We're going to be building that new addition to the building. I think it's already filled. It's a lot of space, but battery heated. So we're kind of like I-10. We just keep expanding and more cars keep coming. So
Good.
It's very exciting time.
Yeah, I think Randy talked about how it was pretty much an older white guy firm for a long time, and now it's super diverse.
It was super diverse. And, I don't think there was ever any kind of like intention or anything like that. It was just, it was what it was for several years. I saw people come and go. But I feel like post-COVID, everybody has kind of exploded. I don't know any plaintiff's lawyer that is not just doing fantastic. So I don't know what happened, but.
I think maybe there was a breaking point, maybe during COVID, where firms that could survive and thrive did, and those that couldn't maybe kind of withered a little bit. I loved COVID. I felt like we were very productive. We got a ton of work done. We figured out pretty early on how to master the working from home and by Zoom. And there's certainly pitfalls to that. I know that Abraham Watkins has embraced it. We've embraced it. We've had lots of really talented paralegals, not lots, a few, who for life circumstances needed to work at home or needed to move to a different state. We've been able to keep those people on and be very productive simply because we don't have to all be here face to face anymore. It's been great. So there were some benefits, to the COVID deal.
No, now if we're going to have mediation or depositions, it's assumed it will be virtual. And you have to actually specify, or but it'd be like, this one's in person, and for some of the big stuff for sure, I insist on that.
I think it's I remember you used to schedule a depot for a car wreck, and maybe you do 2 people in one day, but it was a whole day. Like, you got to pack up your stuff the night before, you got to drive across town, you got to park, and I used to drive downtown 2 days a week, 3 days a week to take silly depots that would take 2 hours. But I would burn 6 hours of time just in the transit and getting setting up. And I'm so glad that we can do most things by Zoom anymore. And my favorite thing was back during Zoom, some of the courts had a docket schedule where they would be like, we're going to call the docket and you're going to be on at 9:10 and you're going to be on at 9:20 and you're going to be on at 9:30. And amazingly enough, it kept the judges and the litigants on a cognizable schedule. So you weren't having your 9 o'clock docket at 11:45. And I wish the courts would do that for maybe not everything, maybe not the summary judgment docket, but your simple discovery nonsense or your entry of a protective order or your motion for continuance. Like, let's knock those out in 5 minutes. Keep us on a schedule. Some courts still do it. I wish they all did.
They don't. Okay. Do you teach yoga or you lead yoga classes or you just do a lot of yoga?
I just do a lot of yoga. I started yoga in 2017. I used to be a runner. I used to like to run Memorial actually. But now I can't pound on my knees anymore. And some of my friends, actually, y'all probably know Judge Pam Medina. She's a probate judge. We went to law school together, and her and one of our other friends mentioned yoga, and so I tried it. I really like it, and I think that's the thing. If you like something, you'll stick with it. But then, too, I'm sure just like y'all, I have a true desk jaw.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, after I work out, I feel like I got a massage. It's really kind of required for me to do yoga every day.
Well, that, and you also, there's no phone. Like even if you're jogging, you're listening to podcasts or music or working out, you're looking at something. With yoga, you put the phones away and it's 1 hour, all you're doing is doing that. And
we used to do as a Dirty Verdict group, like sunrise yoga twice a week.
Goat yoga.
But then Bill was all weird about it, and he bought all these. Was it a singlet he was wearing?
Something like that.
Very, very tight fitting and inappropriate.
So he just wanted effect.
Yeah. So we had to quit that.
He started posting it on Instagram, and it got embarrassing.
I've noticed this. Imrana, you have some posts on Facebook or Instagram where you're like bent up like a pretzel upside down. Yeah. That's not our, maybe not for me.
It's fun, not only is it a good party trick, but the balancing in, it works your core, it works your arms. So while fun to look at, it's also a great challenge.
Sure.
But yeah, I enjoy it, so I stick with it. Flexibility is improved, toning is improved. Definitely get your heart rate up.
What do the yogis say? They say they don't say go at your own pace. They say make adjustments.
Yeah,
for you.
And that's a really good point. That's what I really enjoy, because you can go a class and it can be as easy and non-challenging as you want it to be, but there's always room to advance a pose and push it harder and challenge yourself. So it is a very kind of like golf, like it's a individual skill set. But I used to run a lot, and then I had kids, and I didn't really do anything for a long time. And I got back into it, but as we get older, I am 48, my husband's 50, and so we're just trying to take ownership.
When's your birthday?
April 29th.
Okay.
Skylar, are you 48?
I'm 48. I'm 6 weeks older than she is.
Yeah. So
We should do a joint birthday party
should do
at a yoga studio.
could do it. We'll bring Bill and his onesie and the goats.
Nah, I'm out. That's
No, Kyle, since we've got these new mics, we're going to take the opportunity for you to do a crow pose. So can you demonstrate the crow
Well,
pose?
what I was going to say is it's always somewhat obnoxious that every time I do yoga, which is not a ton, but every time I do yoga, I feel like the instructor is always like very close to my mat when he or she says, and we're going to go at our own pace. Listen to your body. Don't hurt yourself. Don't bother the fat, sweaty man. He's gonna fall over in a minute. And I don't like to be patronized by the yoga instructor.
Are you a shirt off yoga guy? I'm not. I'm a shirt on. I've done probably 2,000 yoga classes. I've never taken my shirt off.
You know, I would say that I used
You actually got him.
yeah, I used to have
He knows that I know some things.
I used to have a little idea of what I called the male demographics of every yoga class. And I'd be like,
You don't have ear, you said?
well, there's always like that one super hairy guy who's wearing nothing, right? He's usually super hairy and he's wearing like essentially
The confidence.
some lycra, he's wearing about 3.5 inches of lycra, and everyone else is like horrified. And then you'll have someone like me who's like in some luxury sweatpants, maybe an extra medium tank top.
Women has a
Yeah.
nice department. Yeah, absolutely.
Don't I know it? I have teenage daughters. I go to Lululemon
Oh yeah.
once a week.
So I don't think we got an answer to that question, but I think that was a filibuster on your part.
Shirt on, shirt off.
Yeah.
For the sake of Western civilization, shirt on.
Okay.
Shirt on.
Any yoga studios you'd like to give a shout out to?
Would, yeah. So Yoga One was where I used to go and very loyal to them, but they unfortunately closed down during COVID. So now I'm a proud member of Black Swan.
That's where I go to the one on Kirby where they make fun of me.
Yes, I will love to join you for a class. I love it there. It's a great, it's donation based.
Yeah.
So it's open for everybody. But I've gone and they have some fabulous instructors and you can do what you want.
Do you go to the one on Kirby?
I go to the one on, it was Finn and they just opened a studio on Montrose. But I have been to the one on Curry.
So I really did go to yoga with some level of consistency earlier in the year. And it really did crack me up. I'm clearly not like an advanced yoga person. I'm there to stretch and relax a little bit. And the last time I went, there was this girl next to me who had like all the yoga tattoos like on her finger, like her fingers and her hands, and she was super skinny and she had all the yoga clothes on and she kept falling over into me. And I was like, at some point I was like, ma'am, you are clearly a yoga professional. Get out of my get off me. Get
How's she just trying to let me hit on you?
I don't think that would. I can't imagine anyone would see me at yoga and think that's the fella for me. That's not happening. But I was kind of like, she sat down next to me and I was like, oh, she's a pro.
Yeah.
Like,
Just wonder why she kept falling if she's.
Well, that's the thing about yoga. That Black Swan on Kirby, some of those classes, you were right next to each other.
Be mat to mat, yeah.
And you just have to get out of your uncomfortable zone, and you get out of it real quick. And everyone's
It's very what?
goofing up and sweaty and bouncing into Kyle, and it's all good.
It's all good.
I will say this. Once or twice, I left yoga just covered in sweat. And I would keep a small cooler of beer in my trunk. And I made some real good friends at yoga that way.
Yeah.
Sure. Have y'all ever tried spin class when that was real popular?
Yeah.
It'll still be.
I still do the Peloton on
Peloton
every day.
great.
Yeah.
Peloton is great. My husband loves to ride a bike and outside though. And because he's married to me, he's not allowed, right? Because he's going to get hit by a car and then we're in a problem.
Right.
And so
You just have him wear a helmet.
And lots of insurance.
yeah, it's not good enough. Yeah, we have lots of insurance, but I really need him, so I don't want to lose him. And so, but he likes to bike outside. But the Peloton, I mean, I've heard you can do like workouts all over the world, right? All kind of different trips.
And they have a yoga app and all that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll do that.
You have a Peloton?
Yeah.
Do you race Randy Sorrells?
No, I can't. I mean, I can't keep up with him on that. I mean, when I need to friend him so we can race each other. But he apparently, based on Facebook, he does his at like 4:30 in the morning, which I'm not going to be up for another 4 hours before that happens.
And then he posts the numbers where he's like faster than the instructor.
Yeah.
And you're like, bro, come on.
Yeah.
So I signed up.
You got it on it.
I signed up a couple of years ago. I got a new bike, and I signed up for a Strava app, which is like tracks your cycling and stuff. And I think I had to hit a button when I signed up where it said, "Do you want to like friend on Strava all your Facebook people?" Or maybe it just automatically did that. But now I'll get out and exercise, once, maybe twice a month, and I get these hilarious like posts from fellow Strava members who are like friends of mine who are like, "Hey, Kyle, great ride." And you're like, "Bro, I went 3 miles on a bicycle. Thanks for the kudos."
All right, let me wrap it up with some summaries. Okay, so first, there's more than one path to being a lawyer, right? You can do something else, and what you do before you become a lawyer actually helps you be a better lawyer, be a differentiator for marketing. Okay, that's one. 2, law firms work with your lawyers on scheduling so that people can have a family and be present in their kids' lives. What else? Call Imrana on any kind of case.
Anytime anybody's hurt.
Anytime anybody's hurt.
Or any
Anytime.
circumstance. Yeah.
And yoga, exercise.
Get out and move
good.
your body. Use it or lose it. Yeah.
What else you got, Kyle? Any other learnings?
I mean, it's like I'm talking to myself, right? Like exercise, work-life balance, make a pile of money. It's like a female version of me.
Yeah.
Me. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me.
Very good. I don't think we've talked about the health part with anyone yet. And that was good. And definitely never had a nurse lawyer before.
Well, yeah, in my professional opinion, as a nurse attorney, I think working out is germane to our profession, kind of going back to work-life balance.
In case you get into a fist fight.
That could happen. That's on the table for sure. But it's a better outlet, stress reliever. There's lots of studies showing how, all the numerous benefits to working out and not using alcohol or drugs.
Why do you look at me when you say alcohol and drugs?
Kyle's drinking coffee. I can verify that. I saw
This is Folgers Crystals,
and I do not see any Baileys enter the chest.
Right, but unfortunately, we have a lot of abuse in our profession. Sure, it's carries a lot of weight, so not for your body.
I will echo this, and not necessarily. This is more of a do as I say, not as I do, but it is a physically. It sounds crazy that it's a physically demanding job, but like the stress and the anxiety of dealing with other people's problems day in, day out can really get you.
Important work for sure.
Well, thank you, Imrana.
Thank you for having me. I was very excited.
It was our pleasure, and we're
chatting.
We're going to Black Swan tomorrow morning, 5 a.m.
Let's do it.
Okay, I'll meet you there. All right. Well, if you like this, follow us, subscribe on Instagram, Spotify, LinkedIn, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.
Adios. See you next time, Bill.